Morning, people. Uh, Here we are, Wednesday, right? Yes, Wednesday. Morning, Dora and Susan and Ruth. Hope you guys have had a good week. I had some stuff come up, and yeah, so here we are. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other videos, so you can always watch an oldie but a goodie if there's no live class up. Um, so there you go. Yeah. So uh, I haven't gotten much done this week. I don't know if you have. Um, it just feels like one of those weeks where I'm gonna tread water. But yeah, it's okay. Some weeks are like that. Um, so let's talk a little bit about the practice today. So when you're having weeks where things aren't going to plan, right, and things come up, or you're just not able to stick to your program as you normally would. um, our practice can be very helpful, right, in coping with these things. Good morning, Deb. uh, so this practice that we call yoga, right, is a lot more than just the asana, right? It is a way of looking at your life and the world, um, and a way of kind of navigating your way through all of those things. Um, when when we start, right, we may not be very clear on that. It's an awareness that kind of unfolds as you practice, as you become more in tune with what's going on inside of you, your thoughts, your feelings, your spirit. Um, when you start listening to those things instead of paying all attention to everything outside of you, um, you start to get some clues how we're going to get through all of this. And yoga is it's a tool, right? I mean, all of these things are tools. It's not a it's not a goal in and of itself. I mean, I guess maybe it is if you're thinking of it in the big term, which is, moving through enlightenment, right? And moving into our next stage at peace. But that's a long time from now, right? We're not. That might be the ultimate goal, but our practical goal for right now, right today, is um, to make our way through the struggles and challenges that we're going to get in life, um, which ultimately then leads us to our final goal. But um, we got to get there first. And yoga is the tool for getting there, for getting anywhere, right? It doesn't matter what your goal is. Yoga and the practices that you learn from yoga are going to help you with that, right? If your goal is to become super fit, the asana will help you with that. But also the discipline of coming to your mat, the awareness that you begin to develop from working on this internal dialogue, this relationship that you have between mind, body, spirit. Um, all of those things will help you, right? It helps you achieve whatever goal you're working towards. Um, it doesn't tell you what your goals should be, right? It's not a religion or uh, well, I mean, it's kind of a philosophy, but it's not a It's not top down, right? It's not an education. It's not saying this is how you should, you know, this is what you should do. This is what you should achieve in life. It's not doing that at all. It's saying, here is a path. You get to choose what you're going to achieve on that path, where you're going to direct that path to go. Um, and, the sky's the limit on that. You get um, all of these techniques and these practices help you with anything you're trying to get towards. Um, and what we are also learning, right, is this idea of resilience and um, but also like seeing things how they are. So we don't turn away. We are strong and resilient. We know there are going to be struggles. We know we're going to feel inadequate to them. Um, we know that there may seem to be, mountains we have to climb. And maybe we do have to climb them. Or maybe we can drill through them and make a tunnel, right? Um, I kind of like that idea because what yoga has tried to do over the millennia is drill that tunnel. So it's not just we're getting through the problems, we're also leaving a path to help other people through the problems. Um, so none of these things that we are going through in our life are unique. They may feel very unique and very personal to us, but in truth, they are the same issues and problems that have, you know, troubled us since the beginning of time. Relationship problems, problems at work, problems with our health. Um, there's nothing new about that. It may feel new. We, as a society, have not had to deal with many of these, um, what we might call primitive, primitive problems, right? In our very modern society, some of these things seem crazy, right? Antiquated. Um, but in truth, I mean, we have had to work through them for years. I was just reading a little article about the plagues in Rome, that, they would have plagues of different types of diseases that would go on for years. Um, and as soon as they figured out sort of how to manage one, or it burned through the population, there would be another. So, um, and everyone there, I mean, if we look back at the Roman, certain parts of the Roman Empire as amazing, like a lot of achievements. They did a lot, discovered a lot of areas, expanded territory, developed, a lot of technology for their age, um, all while dealing with some very difficult situations. So clearly, we can do this. Um, we can do all of these things, but we may be resistant to that, right? We're like, I don't know. I'm just going to wait it out. Going to see what happens, and that's a technique also. But at some point, we have to just start moving through, right? Or climbing the mountain, or cutting through the mountain. We have to keep going, regardless of what is going on around us. We have to make the most of our situation and our life. Um, what one one person may think is terrible, another person may be very comfortable with. Right? Um, this same article was talking about Corsica, which is a little island um, off of Italy, and a guy, ancient sort of Roman philosopher, was exiled there because he fell out of favor for some reason. And it was terrible for him. It was a terrible place. It was, was so far away from his friends and his family, and he hated it, and it was nothing, and just the worst. Just his letters writing about it were just described it as hell on earth, terrible, terrible place. But Corsica was also the place that Napoleon was born, right? And Napoleon, throughout his whole life, um, did nothing but long to go back to this beautiful, beautiful place where he was born, the best place in the world, heaven. So, right? It's all in how you look at it. If you look at what you've lost, then your life will seem like hell. If you look at what you have or the beautiful things that surround us, life can be heaven. It's all in how we look at it. So it's up to you. What are you going to remember, right? What are you going to hold in your mind? What has lost? What has gone by in your life? Or what is ahead? What is right here and right now? What can you find that is beautiful? Um, so as we move through practice, think about what is beautiful. What is beautiful about your practice today? And focus on that. Okay. So sitting up tall, shoulders back. Keep your breath moving through the body. One more breath. Then let the head hang down. Shoulders relaxed here. Lifting the head up. Keep lifting. Chin so the head drops back. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. Sometimes we're trying to lift them up. And then head back to center. Breath in. Moving head over to the right. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Make this a gentle movement. We're not trying to force the head over. Back up. And moving left. Back to center. Lean forward a little. And then we're moving around. One way and then the other. Back up to your seat. Arms wide. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, hands together in the front. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, hands together. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands, we're gazing up. Arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. and lower, lift and lower. Once more, lifting up. And then right hand down by your side, reach across with the left. Switch. Back up, left hand on right knee, right arm behind. Sit up tall and take a twist. Back to center and moving to the other side. Back to center. Both legs out in front. We're going to flex, point and flex the feet. I'm not going to say the toes. I always get into trouble when I point my toes. Makes my feet cramp up, so pointing my feet instead. And then moving around. And if you've got, issues with your ankles, if you find there's a lot of clicking or a lot of sound in there, just slow it down. Right? You don't want to do this too fast or, too abruptly, let's say, right? There are some days, there's a lot of movement and sound in the joints. And some people have more issues with that than others. I have a lot of play in the joints. And so there's a lot of sound when I move. And you learn, right, what's normal and what's not, what sounds like what it normally does. And then, but I will notice some days it's more clicky and movement. I have more issues than others. And those are days you want to be careful. You want to move very carefully because, something's going on. So I don't always know what's going on, but we do know, right, when something unusual is happening, you want to move carefully and cautiously. Right? The funny thing is, and I don't know if we've talked about this before, let's bring the feet together, knees apart, fold forward. When you do have an injury or, part of an injury, partial injury, and I've done this with yoga before where you're almost injured, but you're not quite, like you sort of stopped yourself before anything got serious. You want to keep moving, right? So sometimes when we have an injury of some kind, our reaction is to do nothing, to just stop. And that's not always the best course of action. So it really depends. I mean, if you have a severe injury, you should see your doctor and get advice about that. But if you're weight bearing, if you can put weight on whatever it is and it's not broken or, sprained significantly, gentle movement is often the best road to recovery on that. When you stop moving completely, things can kind of freeze up and you may have some trouble getting it moving again. So again, less, but much less than you would normally do. Let's bring the legs out in front. Inhale, lift, and then fold forward. So movement, gentle movement, walking, right, is a great thing to do. It's a great kind of rehab to almost everything. So if you had a trouble, if you hurt yourself stretching or doing something like that, try walking it out and just move that way, natural movement. And light stretching, like a little warm up, the kind of warm up that we do with yoga. Those are all good movements that can help you, keep that range of motion. A lot of times, it's hips and it's shoulders. So hips and shoulders are, they're kind of like the, I don't even know the name of those things, but the places where the highways all join up, and some are going up and some are going down, and it's it's a multiplex of highways. That's what the shoulders and hips are, right? We have all of these connections being made. Muscles, joints, bones, ligaments, then the nerves and everything that are associated with all of that. There's just a lot going on. And those oftentimes are the places where stuff gets out of place. But if you think about it, walking works all of those places, right? Because you're working the hips, but you're also, if you're doing a natural movement, you're moving the shoulder as well, right? The arms are moving with that, but in a gentle way. So that's one reason why walking is like such a good kind of movement for that sort of thing. Okay, let's bring the legs wide. Speaking of sounds and movement in the joint, that was weird. Let's have the feet up, fold forward. And moving back up, let's bring the legs a little bit closer. Fold forward here. A little closer. And fold forward here. Moving back up, we're going to bring the right leg under so that knee is pointing out. Left leg on top. Sit up tall here and then fold forward. Come on back up. We're going to kind of swing that, pull, I guess, not swing, but pull that right foot back a little bit. And the left foot, see if you can set it on the floor, more or less. It doesn't have to be, completely on the floor, but we're going to bring the right hand on top of this, left hand behind you for a twist. Breath in. So when we do these type of twists, seated twists, what we're doing with the legs here is really just trying to stabilize the hips. So if we are normally trying to do a twist, what we'll do, and you can see this, if you put this foot down, right, and you try to twist, you'll feel it here, right? This is where we start to turn. And that's fine, like if that's what we want to do. But if we're trying to move the upper body, which is what we are trying to do, this stops that from happening. And you'll feel it's different. It's a twist through the shoulders and the upper back, but not so much through the side. So then, left leg under, right leg on top. Sitting up tall and then fold. Back up and then setting yourself up here to go the opposite way. Breath in and twist. Back to center. Both legs out in front. For another fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, soles of the feet together again. Deep breath, fold forward. Come on back up. Let's lift the knees, catch a hold of the toes or the tops of the feet. Lean back a little so that you can lift the heels, find your balance. And then when you're steady, you might have some extension halfway or all the way. And then set the heels back down. We're going to bring the hands behind the thighs, right underneath where the knee meets the thigh, right? And then we're going to lean back again. So you can stay here holding on to the hands, or you could extend. And set the feet back down. Legs in front. Breath in, fold forward. Back up. Coming into tabletop. And then back into child's pose. Back up. Tabletop to downward dog. And we're going to go from from downward dog to high plank. And then back again. We're going to do that 3 times. So the inhale is going to be as we come forward to high plank. Exhale is pushing back into downward dog. So the inhale, we're coming forward. Exhale, moving back. One more, moving forward. Hold here. And then lower down. Head turns to the right, arms by your side. And back to center. We're going to bring the hands out in front, setting up for Sphinx. So we're propped up on the elbows. Palms are resting on the floor. Squeeze back with the shoulders, gazing straight ahead. And then lower down. Head turns to the left. Relax. Head back to center. Arms by your side. Rest the palms on the mat. And then we're going to lift up, head and chest. Lift the arms, lift the legs. And come on back down. You bring the hands in front. Rest the chin or the forehead. Bring the feet a little wider on the mat. Toes in, heels out. If you really don't like how that feels, you could try heels in, toes out, or just anything. And let's take a few moments here. Crocodile breath. So we are breathing through the back of the body, noticing that compression in the front. Allowing the back part of the body to be relaxed and expand with the breath. Let's move onto one side, whichever side you want. Bend the top knee, working to extend. You can grab a hold of whatever you can reach here, toe or ankle or knee. Finding your balance. And then setting the leg back down. Roll onto the other side. And again, same thing on this side. And then setting the foot back down. We're going to scoot over onto the mat if you aren't already there. Get comfortable here. Take a few breaths. And then hugging the right knee in. You can extend, maybe Grab onto some part of the leg to help work on that extension. And if you want, you can work on sort of lowering that leg out to the side. Right? If you're close to the wall, that's not going to work that great, as you can see. But hopefully you're not as close to the wall as I am. I suppose I could move a little bit. I think I'm just being lazy. I guess that's better. And then back to center. Extend the leg back down. And we've got the left leg in this time. And then maybe extending. If you want to hold on to the leg, you can. And then maybe extending out to the side. Back to center. And both legs long. Take a few breaths. Maybe bring the arms up over your head. And then hands by your side. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat. Setting up for bridge. You've got hands by your side. So palms pressed down. Lifting up. Lowering back down. Bring soles of the feet together. Knees apart. Steady breath. Knees back together. We're going to bring the right ankle, top of the left knee. You might stay here if the hips are feeling tight. Otherwise, we're bringing that left thigh in toward the chest. Set the foot back down. We're going to leave that right ankle on the knee. Goalpost arms or arms out to a T. I'm going to start lowering. Left knee down, right leg goes along. Back up. Switch sides. Whatever we did on the one side, we'll do on the other. Set the foot down and then lowering. Moving the legs over to the right. Back to center. Both feet back down to the mat. Hug the knees in. Rock a little side to side. And then moving into Shavasana, you could extend the legs long. You could extend them straight up and lower, whatever you want to do. Just coming to a comfortable place on the mat where you feel relaxed and steady. Palms can be facing up or just facing to the side, whatever works for you today. And then just let yourself go here. Feel any tension that might still be hanging around the body. Let it just slip away. So if you find yourself struggling in your practice, in your day, in your life, come back to our practice. Remember how it felt when you first started. You probably could not even imagine getting through a whole hour, right? Movement. Each pose felt so difficult, felt so awkward. Um, and yet, you did get through it. And you've done it again and again. And you keep getting through it. So our life is like that, right? It's a series of um, poses or um, positions that we get ourselves into, that we put ourselves into. And our job is to then hold that pose, right, until it's time to move to the next. And just as no yoga pose lasts forever, neither does anything that we're going through. Sometimes all we can do is hold our ground. Um, we talk about this metaphor of being flexible, not just strong. So, you know, an oak tree is strong, but it's also rigid and it can come down. You know, it can get blown down by a strong wind. A willow tree is more flexible, right? It maybe moves with the wind. So we want to stand firm, but also be flexible, right? Move when you need to move. Um, but hold your ground. Know that whatever's happening, whatever you're going through, won't last forever. You'll be on to the next pose before you know it. And if you don't feel great in a certain pose, you can adjust, right? Same thing with your life. If you feel struggling with something, find a different way to do it. Make an adjustment. See if you can find something that makes it more tolerable for you, fits a little more with what you need. And just like a yoga practice, even though we talk about not having preferences for the poses, right? Because we don't want to build up a lot of feeling in our head about certain poses, that all poses have something to offer, right? So every situation you're going through has something to offer you. It's a lesson we're trying to learn. It might not be the actual situation itself. Maybe it's going to be your reaction to it that will teach you what you need to know. Um, so welcome whatever comes. It may not be your favorite, but it has value. There is something there for you. Um, take what is there, learn from that. We find that when we don't do this, when we turn away, when we resist and we fight and we struggle and we pretend it's not happening, we will have to learn these lessons over and over. Um, avoidance is not the same thing as going through something, right? Sometimes we just have to go straight through. We have to just pass through whatever it is that's coming our way. Um, Trying to avoid things simply prolongs the situation, and you might avoid it this time, but it'll come back for you, right? If there's something there for you, you're going to get it offered again and again and again. So work through it. Don't be afraid to suffer, right? There is going to be some suffering in our life. Um, that is the nature of life. Everyone is going to have difficulties. Everyone is going to have problems. Um, we might as well just go through it because we're also going to have great joys, right? And great joys are always right around the corner. You can't have one without the other. So embrace what comes your way. Use your tools, your yoga strengths, your those abilities, right? The resilience and the strength and the connection to the divine that you've developed. Use those to move you through whatever comes your way. When you're ready, moving a bit, fingers and toes, hands and feet, just getting the body back into movement. Coming up to a seat on the mat. We've got hands together, deep breath in and out. Thank you for taking time on this Wednesday morning for some yoga. I hope that you have a very good rest of the day. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for yoga this morning. Let's do 5 minutes of meditation because we should. And if we put it off till later, we won't do it at all. That's how that goes, right? All right, so getting comfortable. Find a seat wherever you like. Nice and upright with the body. Breathe. Again, doesn't have to be a seat on the floor or on a cushion. It could be in a chair. Chair meditation is great. There's no reason not to do it. Just trying to be comfortable and feeling supported so you can relax. Find that just a natural breath. Opening your eyes, coming back to awareness. Deep breath in and out. Okay, there you go. Got your meditation in, got your yoga in, ready to feel you can feel very accomplished already today. No matter what else you get done, you got that done. So good job. All right, tomorrow's Thursday, so we'll be back here again, and I will see you then.